we are using the classification that is based on 5 kingdoms. So in our lessons in the classification, we shall always be talking about the 5 kingdoms, okay, that we mentioned. If you remember, the Monera, Prototista, the Plantae, the Animalia, okay, and then the fungi. Okay, those are the 5 kingdoms that we shall be looking at. But the scientists were not originally looking at the 5. They first started looking at 2. Okay, the 2 kingdom classification where you had plants and animals. But now we are not in that. We are looking at 5 kingdoms that I've already outlined. Okay, so that is something that is very, very important to note. So let's look at how, if we look at if we include a other classification here, where we talk about the 2 kingdom, we have a situation where we include domain and we don't start with kingdom direct. And this is what we wanted to stress here. Okay, in classification, it is used, but not very commonly. Our interest is not looking at the domains. We are basically starting with kingdoms, the 5 kingdoms. Then we shall go down and look at all these 5 kingdoms, their phyla, classes, and the rest. That's what we shall look at. But I'm also telling you that if you see the word domain, you shouldn't be surprised that we also have a domain classification above the kingdom, but we are not going to give it a lot of attention. So if we are to classify humans, if we start at the domain level, we can say that humans belong to the domain eukaryota. That is the domain that we can give humans. And then we go to the kingdom where you have animalia. So humans are classified under animalia, and they are characterized with being multicellular, many cells. They have many cells. Animals have many cells. Even humans have many cells. So they fall under animalia. They are heterotrophic. They don't make their own food. They depend on others to make their food. Okay? And then they are eukaryotic. Okay? Eukaryotic organisms. This means that they have cells, and inside those cells we have organelles, and those organelles are enclosed with membranes. Okay? They have membrane-bound organelles. Membrane-bound organelles. Okay? Here, when we talk about eukaryotes, that's what we mean. So we are saying that organisms that fall under the category of animalia are multicellular, they are heterotrophic, and they are eukaryotic. That is to say that they have organelles that are closed with membranes, and then also they have a proper nucleus. Okay, that's something to note there. So from kingdom we move to phyla, the plural form of the word phylum. So humans belong to the phylum Chordata. Okay, Chordata. One, you always have to remember this, the notochord. It's what perhaps you used to call as the vertebral column. Okay, organisms that have that possess the notochord. That's very important. For humans, we have mammalia. Humans belong to a class called mammalia. And what is unique with this is that the organisms in this group have mammary glands. Mammary glands. That means they produce milk that they use to feed their young ones or offsprings. Okay, so that's why humans belong to the class Mammalia. And then the order is primates. These have organisms that have the ability to grasp. They have grasping hands and feet, forward-looking eyes, and large brains. That is associated with the. Actually, when we talk about uh, primitivity, we usually refer to the brain function, and I think this is where the primates come in. So if you think about the primates, think about the reasoning that is associated with the brain of these animals. So they have larger brains. Okay, primates have larger brains, and then the family is hominidae. Hominidae is the family for humans. So the characteristic is that they are very, 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 very close. Organisms that have close ancestral links here. The chimpanzees and the gorillas actually come in here. Okay, so we basically talk about the apes. Okay, we are causeless related to the chimpanzees and the gorillas. And then the genus Homo is the genus, and here we it means that the organisms in this and this very, very, very close. Okay, they're very close, but most of these actually have uh, gotten extinct. That we no longer have. We no longer have them. Okay, when we say they are extinct, we say we are no longer. We can no longer find them. Okay, why? Because they have not been. They have not survived. Evolutionary forces have weeded them out. Okay, so we have human species that are no longer existing. Okay, but we perhaps evolved from this a similar or a common ancestral tree. Okay, and then the common sapient. These are now us. The biological or the scientific name for the humans is Homo sapiens. Okay, that's what differentiates us from other organisms that can be placed under the genus Homo. Okay, that's very important there. Thank you for attending this session where we have looked at the binomial nomenclature. Binomial nomenclature is about giving names to organisms. Okay, we have two names. One is for the genus name, and then the other is for the species name. And then we have rules that we have to follow. And said that the names always have to be two. The first name, which is the genus name, the second name is the species name. The genus name, the first letter has to be capital. For the species name, all the letters are lower cases. They should be in italics and underlined separately. And we have looked at the scientific name or the uh, biological name for humans.